You click this video not even knowing whether you can trust me. Similarly, when people come across your brand, they don't know whether they can trust it. And that right there is the biggest problem in 2026, is we don't know anymore whether we can trust each other. I've gone ahead and solved this problem for you. In fact, I'll be giving you the exact operating system that I would be using if I were to start a brand today. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete content strategy that not only will get views, but it's actually going to give you a wait list of clients that completely trust you before they speak a word to you. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Aus. I run a production company called Hyperfilm. We've worked with some of the world's biggest brands, and we've been doing so for about a decade now. I've broken it down into 3 phases. Phase 1 is about mindset, but phase 3 is the one that most founders are terrified to do, yet it's the single biggest revenue driver, and it pretty much flips everything that we've been taught upside down. Most founders and marketers are still running on the 2020 playbook, which I like to call the black box model. The black box model essentially is that Steve Jobs fantasy where you hide away for 6 to 12 months, you don't let anyone see anything, you want to perfect the branding, the website, the landing page, the product, until the very big launch day. Here's the biggest issue with the black box model in 2026. By the time you launch, your product might even be irrelevant, or your industry might have shifted, or the thing that you thought people will care about or be excited about, they just aren't. If I started today, I would do the total opposite. I would build inside what I call a glass box. Imagine that your office is in the middle of the street with glass walls, and everyone can watch you build your brand. They can see how you make stuff, they can see how you make mistakes, they can see your prototypes. It's all on display. I know, it sounds scary, but allow me to tell you why this is the superior strategy. Because in the world of AI-generated slop, the process is now more powerful than ever before. Nowadays, when people see a website or an app or new clothing designs and they look just a little bit too polished, there's always that thought in the back of our mind. Was this made with AI in about 10 minutes? Or was this a real person putting in real work? That's why just showing the final product is a bit risky nowadays, and the only way to verify whether something is legit is by showing the process. When you adopt the glass method strategy, you're no longer making what people can consider suspicious content, because you're documenting your reality. It also removes the pressure to be perfect, and you no longer need to tell your story retrospectively because you're now living it with your audience. If you're a service provider, that means showing your methodology, not just your testimonials. If you're a fashion designer, that means showing your bad samples, not just the finalized designs. The fake it till you make it, go ahead and put that quote in the bin. Showing them how you make it will make you make it. It's a lot of make it, but you get what I'm saying. Now I know what you're probably thinking. If I show my messy process, won't people think I'm unprofessional? Don't people want to work with experts instead of people who seem like they're just figuring it out? If you are thinking this, then allow me to convince you otherwise. This is the biggest misconception in marketing, which brings me to phase 2. The WIP rule, the work in progress rule. There's a huge difference between sloppy results and a messy process. Your clients hate sloppy results, of course, but they love a messy process, and I'll tell you why. Because it proves competence. It shows that you can overcome hurdles, you can solve problems. I would even go as far as to say that it makes you someone to look up to, because not only are you a problem solver, which not many people are, but you're vulnerable enough to even show it. It also builds an appreciation for what you're creating. If I point out 2 watches to you, this one costs 10, this one costs 10,000. Which one would you go for? It's a no-brainer. I'm gonna go for the 10. Yet, there's still people that are buying the 10+K Rolex. Why is that? Because Rolex has successfully made people appreciate their craftsmanship. Any watch enthusiast on YouTube, they'll passionately defend the price because they know about the intricacies of what it takes to build a watch like that. Here's the WIP rule. Publish the during, do not wait for the after, and here are 3 ways of doing it without looking like an amateur. Number 1, the decision audit. Don't just make a video showing people how you've come up with the pricing, but also show them the other pricing that you've considered and why you've rejected them. You're showing your strategic thinking. Number 2, the post-mortem. Did something in your process not go to plan? Did it go wrong? Did you try something and it failed? Well, show them. Here's what I tried, here's why it failed, and here's what I will be doing different the next time. When you combine vulnerability with competence, it creates trust. Number 3, the over the shoulder. Literally record your screen while you talk us through it. If you're a designer, time-lapse your drafting phase or sewing. If you're a coder, show us what you're attempting to debug and how you're doing so. So there's this guy who's, I'm not sure if I can say his name, is Sahil Lavingia, and he actually built a platform that you might have heard of, Gumroad. He showed how he couldn't build a billion-dollar company. He showed his failings. He showed his board meetings. And guess what? Did this make people run away? No. In fact, it made people flock to him. And that's just a real-life example in case you still had any doubt. One of the scariest things about building a brand is you don't even know if it's going to work out. And one of the most beautiful things about this method is it actually turns your work into marketing assets, and it will expose you to a bunch of people with opinions who will certainly give it to you. Which brings me to phase 3. We've covered the glassbox mindset, we've covered the WIP documentation, and now it's phase 3, the part that I told you would be the scariest. However, this is the strategy that will actually get your audience hooked. I call it the boardroom axis. And essentially, I feel like we've always seen our customers as targets, right? We call it the target market. We target them with ads, we target them with emails. And it's always, we project something onto them, we hope they like it, we hope they consume it. What if I told you that your target market will literally happily help you target them? All you need to do is invite them into the boardroom to help you make decisions. Have you heard of this psychological principle called the IKEA effect? It essentially states that people put a disproportionate amount of value on things that they helped build. In other words, when someone helps make a table or puts a table together themselves, they love that table. So how do you apply this to your brand? You don't just allow them to look through the glass box, you should allow them to tap and tell you, hey, I would actually like it more if you move this that way. You can literally say, hey guys, we're a bit stuck. Do you prefer this design or this design? Also, which functionalities do you wish you always had that you don't currently have with what you're using now? You get free market research. Stop guessing what they want. They will tell you. And do not take this for granted. These are not just some opinions. Companies pay hundreds of thousands to do market research. Secondly, they're already sold. The moment they decided to choose what they wanted, they already mentally purchased it. So by the time you bring it out, they're buying it. Lastly, it will build a tribal defense mentality. Anyone who goes against your brand, they will defend against it. And why is that? It feels like their brand too. They helped you build it after all. Give them boardroom access. Essentially, you treat the comment section like a strategy meeting. A lot of brands just want to be the loudest, right? They want to be out there. But the brands that win these days are the ones that listen the loudest. I get it. We all want to have super polished brands. But before brands, we're human. And perfection is not human. Sometimes big brands spend millions on ads and they lose money, whilst other brands spend nothing but time on the correct strategy and they make millions. And if you want to learn about how to make ads that actually sell instead of ads that just look nice, then click the video on the screen. I'll see you there.